I never thought I'd be the kind of man who checked his wife's messages. But that night, something in my gut wouldn't let me sleep. It wasn't jealousy, it was a quiet, gnawing unease. You know that feeling when your mind whispers that something isn't right, even when your heart begs you to ignore it. It started with laughter. Hers. Faint, but sharp enough to slice through the silence of our home office. Sarah was in the living room, phone in hand, smiling like a teenager caught in a secret. She didn't notice me standing in the doorway. The light from her screen painted her face in a soft blue glow. Then she bit her lip the way she used to when we first started dating. My chest tightened. "Who are you texting?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She jumped slightly. "Oh hey, just Maya. She's going through some stuff with her boyfriend again." She smiled too quickly. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But the thing about marriage is, after 10 years you can tell when something's off. A laugh that lasts too long. A look that doesn't meet yours. That night, when she fell asleep beside me, I watched her for a while. Her phone buzzed once on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked. God, I know that. But I did. The message was from a contact saved as Ethan Office. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Same place. Same time?" My heart stopped. I stared at it until my eyes blurred. My first instinct was denial. It's a misunderstanding. Maybe a work meeting. But then I scrolled up. The earlier messages shattered me. "I miss your laugh. You looked stunning today. I couldn't focus in the meeting. Wish I was holding you right now instead of pretending to care about spreadsheets." Each word was a knife. I locked myself in the bathroom, sat on the cold tile floor, and just broke. The next day I didn't confront her. I needed to be sure. I told her I had a late meeting at work, kissed her forehead, and watched her pretend to care. She smiled, said, "Don't be too late," and went back to her phone. At 6:30 p.m., I parked 2 streets away from the cafe near her office. The same cafe she once said she went to unwind after long days. I sat in my car, engine off, palms sweating. Every second felt like someone tightening a rope around my chest. Then she appeared. Sarah. My wife. My everything. Wearing the dress I bought her for our anniversary. She looked radiant, too radiant for a casual evening coffee. And then right behind her came him. Ethan. I recognized him immediately. He worked in her department. A tall, confident man, maybe mid-30s, always a bit too friendly at office gatherings. I watched them from a distance. He touched her arm lightly. She laughed, leaned in, whispered something. My hands shook so violently I had to grip the steering wheel just to keep them steady. I could have stormed in right then. I could have made a scene, thrown punches, screamed. But I didn't. I waited. I wanted to see the truth laid bare. No excuses, no lies. After about 30 minutes, they left the cafe and walked toward the nearby hotel. My heart stopped again. It wasn't even hidden, they didn't care. I followed, staying far enough not to be seen. My mind was racing, my stomach twisting. I wasn't sure what I'd do when I got there. All I knew was that I couldn't turn away now. At the hotel lobby, she glanced around nervously, and he whispered something in her ear that made her blush. They got into the elevator. I waited 2 minutes, then approached the front desk. My voice trembled as I said, "Excuse me, my wife just checked in. Sarah Williams. Could you tell me her room number?" She left her purse. The receptionist looked hesitant. "Sir, I'm not." I leaned closer, lowering my voice. "Please. It's urgent." She hesitated, then glanced at the monitor. "Room 408. I thanked her and walked toward the elevator, my pulse pounding in my ears. Each floor felt heavier than the last. My reflection in the elevator doors looked like a stranger's, a man hollowed out by disbelief. When I reached room 408, I stood there for a long time. I could hear muffled voices from inside. Laughter. Then silence. I knocked. First nothing. Then footsteps. The door cracked open, and there she was. Sarah. Her face went pale. She froze, her lips parting but no words coming out. Behind her, Ethan appeared, shirt half-buttoned. Confusion quickly turning to panic. "Mark," she whispered. What are you doing here?" I smiled, though it felt more like my face was breaking apart. "I think that's my line." The silence between us was deafening. She stepped into the hallway, closing the door slightly behind her, as if that would hide what I already knew. "Mark, please." It's not what it looks like, she started, her voice trembling. I laughed bitterly. Really? Because it looks exactly like what it looks like, Sarah. Tears welled up in her eyes. I made a mistake. No, I said quietly. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. This was a choice. Ethan muttered. Maybe I should go. I turned my gaze on him, sharp and cold. Yes, you should. He disappeared back into the room, and Sarah reached for my arm. Please, let's just talk somewhere private. I stepped back. You've already had enough privacy. I walked away before she could say more. Down the hall, down the elevator, out the hotel doors into the night air that suddenly felt too thin. I could hear her calling my name, but I didn't look back. When I reached my car, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. The anger, the heartbreak. It all mixed into something raw and ugly. I slammed my fists against the steering wheel until the horn blared. Then I just sat there, crying in the dark. She came home that night. I didn't speak to her. I couldn't. She tried to explain, said it just happened, that she felt unseen, that I was distant lately. Maybe some of that was true. Marriage isn't perfect. We've been drifting, I suppose. But I would have fought for us. I was fighting for us. She just gave up first. I slept on the couch for weeks. She cried, begged, said she'd end it, that she still loved me. But every time I looked at her, I saw that hotel hallway. Her pale face. The door half open behind her. I realized love doesn't vanish overnight. It decays slowly, piece by piece, until one day you wake up and can't recognize what you're holding anymore. It's been 6 months since that night. The divorce papers are signed, the house is half empty, and silence has become my closest companion. Sometimes I catch myself missing her laugh, the real one from before the lies. Other times I hate myself for missing her at all. I don't think betrayal ever truly leaves you. It changes the way you see people, the way you trust, even the way you look at yourself. But I've learned something too. The truth may hurt like hell, but it's still better than living in a beautiful lie. The night I showed up instead of her secret lover, my world ended. But in a strange way, it also began again. Because sometimes the only way to find yourself is to lose everything you thought you couldn't live without.